Welcome to Natural Born Talents. Today's subject is how to raise children according to each aura. Now, before we get into this tricky subject, I have to point out that our present society is very anti-parent. Like all cults, it seems to be that the state is more interested in controlling every aspect of your lives than allowing you to nurture and raise children. The reasons children join one cult or political affiliation, which is very cult-like many times, is they either succumbed to ego or became a sycophant to ego. And the reason that they became a sycophant to ego or become an egotist themselves is the lack of parenting, the lack of love, the lack of nourishing the soul in order to feel enough confidence within themselves to refrain from succumbing to the ego and thus fulfilling their purpose in life. Now, does this mean parents are at fault? Not exactly. A lot of parents have been put in scenarios and situations that make it very, very difficult to raise a child properly. Of course, there are parents who are very neglective or abusive, but there are also a lot of parents who are very compassionate and loving and instinctively know the skills of how to raise a child, but the society just simply won't let them. Or the parents were unaware that the shift in the society made it more difficult to raise children properly. Examples of this would be technology. Technology has made a lot of parenting too easy to escape the duties of parenting. For example, parents may allow their children to play lots of games on TV or the computer, not realizing that is taking away from the child's need for love, compassion, physical play, or discipline. On top of that, traditional families are being divided by having both parents work because of the shift in economics of the family. This also takes away from the child's needs for love, play, attention, etc. Now, of course, each society, religion, cultural background will vary on the influence and the needs of a child's growth. It is apparent to me that the lack of discipline, the lack of love, the lack of play, the lack of understanding the psyche of a child leads to children becoming destructive in one way or another, usually stemming from some kind of ego. Now, other things that I'll touch on, like education, social behavior, and these other issues that also are important. The main focus of this video will be how each aura have their own needs, as well as techniques to raise them to achieve the goals that they wish to achieve in life, without succumbing to the ills of one cult, ego, or corrupt political affiliation. After all, the name of the game is achieving your goals through your natural talents, as opposed to forcing it through ego. Okay, so let's look at each aura. We'll start from the orange and work all the way up to the indigo. For this video, it will be the environmental physical group, as you see in group A1. The orange aura. The orange aura can be very tricky to raise for many reasons. The orange, first of all, does not need other people in their lives. So this will confuse parents when they're trying to give them lots of love, play, joy, or discipline. It doesn't mean that the orange does not need these things per se. It means how you handle it may be a little bit different from other auras. The orange generally likes to be in physical challenges. Things like romance, love, compassion don't have a whole lot of meaning for the orange aura. They're more focused on dangerous physical challenges that few of us could achieve, leaving many parents feeling very worried about their physical safety. Education is another area where, with the present lockstep system we have in our societies, drives the orange crazy. It would be akin to putting a tiger in a cage, a very small cage at that, and poking it with a stick. Oranges need to be physically free in order to explore their physical surroundings. While it may drive a lot of parents to see their toddler climbing on top of furniture and jumping off from it crazy, it is probably wise to child-proof any environment the orange wishes to challenge but at the same time allowing the child to find its physical limits. Of course, with someone standing by to make sure it doesn't go too far. Goals for the orange are going to generally be something that is related to stuntmen or women, special forces, or any of these other kinds of challenging and demanding jobs. Therefore, allowing for education that is geared towards these areas as opposed to sitting at a desk for long periods of time will greatly help the orange aura move forward and achieve their purpose in life. The next aura is the red. They're a little bit easier to raise. They're pretty straightforward. Generally, love, discipline, play, and other cultural, religious, or external practices will usually benefit the red. However, the red, like the orange, is a very physical aura. They learn by hands-on as opposed to sitting at a desk for long periods of time. Their physical needs are somewhere near where the oranges are, but not quite as dangerous. The red is a team player, the orange is not. Therefore, things like sports after school or other physical activities are crucial to the red's release of pent-up energy. Learning something abstract takes time for the red. Therefore, allowing them to think things through their physical being is probably a good idea. Forcing something on a red that is abstract, that doesn't allow them to process information, can lead to a lot of frustration for the individual, which they have a tendency to lash out in a physical way. If they feel insecure, they can become the school bully, for example, simply because they can't process the information that's being taught to them as fast as other students can. This does not mean that they are not intelligent. Reds tend to be very practical people. They just need more time to process information they don't understand, especially dealing with abstract subjects. Next is the magenta. The magenta can be kind of tricky. The magenta needs love, discipline, joy, purpose in life, just like any other child. However, the magenta's need for freedom makes it sometimes very difficult to tell when discipline is needed or backing off to allow the magenta to explore the world by their own will or instincts. For example, the magenta is generally very intelligent, quick-minded. But being a physical aura, like the red and the orange, they cannot stand being locked up studying for long periods of time. If a subject interests them, they will put a lot of effort into it because it interests them. But to be forced to study something that is boring or too detailed will cause a lot of frustration within the magenta. And the backlash of that is to ignore rules that parents have set up, causing more conflict within the family. A better strategy is to allow the magenta to have time where they can explore their creative outlets. Actually, encouraging their creative outlets, but at the same time setting some limits that make the family function as a family. This is an ideal strategy for the magenta. In other words, the magenta needs to know what line they cannot cross because it causes the family as a whole a lot of problems. But at the same time, allowing the magenta to explore things that are creative, that are adventurous, fashionable, quirky, and so on. A magenta will excel when they understand that the parents of the house set limits for a specific reason, generally to make the family function as a whole. But outside of those limits, the magenta is allowed to explore those things as they will. Over-controlling parents, as much as undisciplined parents, will likely lead the magenta astray. Magentas are not born hateful or angry people. They just want the space to explore the things that they find interesting, but generally don't follow rules because they are naturally nonconformists. This concludes Group A1, the environmental physical auras. There's of course much more I could say about each individual aura, so if you have any questions, please leave it in the comments section below, and thanks for watching. Hope to see you in the next video.